Welcome everybody to round 2 of Tuesday Night Modern. We've got a fast and furious one here.
Yeah, man. This one's a good one.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker.
I guess.
You have something against Paul Walker?
Here's my issue.
What's your issue?
I feel bad when anybody dies.
Okay.
But, like, the guy advocated driving in a fast and furious manner.
Right.
And then died by driving in a fast and furious manner. And
right.
So, can we really feel that bad about it?
Yeah, ride or die, man.
I don't know what that means.
It's all about family.
I don't know what any of that means. Yeah. So this one has Boros burn. I didn't know Zach was back on the burn deck.
Back on the burn train.
Against an Infect deck. This is an interesting one. So the question becomes, how much burn does Zach have to defer away from actually targeting Kevin to handle the Infect combo?
The answer is 0.
Right, because you just get to leave the mana up.
Right.
And then if he goes for it, you kill the guy.
You play out your sorcery speed burn early.
Right.
You save your instant speed burn for end of turn, and then do some math and get him.
Get him. So we favor the burn deck here, in my opinion.
I concur. You favored the burn deck back when Infect was still whole, and now that it's not, I think burn is just heavily favored.
Now that it can't probe you.
Although it looks like Infect is on the play, this is a very play-draw dependent matchup. Turn 1 Glistener Elf is exactly the start that Kevin wants. You can't really play around the turn 2 Infect kill.
No?
Although that's definitely a possibility. You just have to plan on killing Kevin. Oh, we're playing Control tonight.
Okay.
I wonder if he just didn't have any other options in hand. I see a Searing Blaze Goblin Guide. I would have 100% played the Goblin Guide and just gone to town.
Yeah, you just play the odds there, huh?
Yeah, and so you have a Searing Blaze, which is much better, obviously, when he has a creature.
Right.
As in, you can cast it.
Yeah, it requires you know what I mean, to sequence your spells that way.
Right. I don't have any problem killing the Glistener Elf here. I think that's perfectly reasonable. But I think the Goblin Guide's a much higher percentage play. And then this turn you could represent your Searing Blaze, your Lava Spike, and then leave up Lightning Bolt mana.
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting series. So there's a Blighted Agent going to come down. I think that's going to catch a Searing Blaze.
Yeah, especially if he's a land. And there he does.
1000% has a land.
1000%. So we're going to swing in for 2, see what's on top. Dispel.
Dispel. So this is interesting because if he Searing Blazes now and Kevin wants to respond, he has to give up that Dispel, which could be a huge card in this matchup.
Right.
Dispel can represent, 4 points of damage.
And with Kevin at 10, it might just be correct to play out this Eidolon. Although I think it's still a little early for that. I think if we get the Searing Blaze this turn, next turn we can throw out the Eidolon. The issue that he's having is he doesn't want to run this Searing Blaze into like a Blossoming Defense or Vines of the Vastwood.
So you still get the 3 damage to the player.
Correct.
Because there's 2 targets, so it
But you don't want to leave yourself tapped out against this Infect deck.
Well, you're representing 1 mana. He has to honor it.
Sure.
I'd fire.
I would pass, and if he pops the fetch, I would fire.
Yeah, because you still have Searing Blaze on your turn, on his turn, because of the fetch land.
Correct.
That's interesting. Ooh, Disrupting Shoal.
Huh. So it leaves him with 2 cards in hand. 3 now. One of them is Dispel. All right. So now we're getting
Does he have another Might of Old Crosa in his hand?
He does.
Oh, that only gets him to 9.
Right.
Interesting.
So it's going to take 2 attacks anyway. I guess he's splitting this up to try and represent both of Vines and this Dispel.
Yeah, because Zach needs to have 2 spells now to get in here.
And I don't think he has it.
Interesting. Very interesting. That Disrupting Shoal was important.
Very important. Does he have another Eidolon, or is that a Skullcrack?
It's a Skullcrack. He's got Helix, Skullcrack, Searing Blaze, and 1 card I haven't seen. It might be 2 Skullcracks.
Getting another breeding pool.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to do it. Zach's not going to have an answer here. You got to try. So let's think back to turn 1 when we opted to Lightning Bolt the Glistener Elf instead of playing the Goblin Guide and then Searing Blazing the Glistener Elf on turn 2.
Right.
If we still had that Bolt in hand,
right,
we have Bolt Lightning Helix that would get him out of this situation.
Interesting.
It's just about efficient use of mana there.
And the Goblin Guide probably would have gotten in for 2 more damage.
Right. I mean, so you can't really play around Disrupting Shoal, because who plays Disrupting Shoal?
Kevin Liao.
Kevin Liao is who.
Right.
But at the same time, like, you want to have a faster clock. You want to have an answer at all times to deal with these Infect creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And in the late game, which is like turn 4 or 5, you want to have 2 answers if necessary.
Right.
And
so the Disrupting Shoal is going to counter the Searing Blaze regardless.
Or the Eidolon, and I don't know if he even had it in his hand at that point.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, assuming all things are equal, the Searing Blaze gets countered by the Disrupting Shoal.
Sure.
He untaps. He's attacked for 1 poison on his turn 2. He Disrupting Shoals on his turn, on your turn 2.
If you fire it off there, yeah. And then, you probably do, because he's tapped out.
Right. And then on turn 3, he attacks in with the 2 Might of Old Crosa and the Glistener Elf for 9. And gets you.
Yeah. I mean, if he had the Might of Old Crosas in his hand at that point.
Right.
Which,
yeah, that's assuming he has all the same cards in his hand, and the cards that didn't get shown weren't drawn.
Well, we saw everything in his hand except for the
played every spell.
Yeah.
Well, the spell was implicitly played.
Correct. So we saw everything.
Right.
We knew he drew the Dispel last.
So he wouldn't have had some of those cards.
Right.
Interesting to play out in that sequence.
So it looks like we're going to do some sideboarding here. I'd imagine skull cracks are coming out. Anything that can't target a creature loses a lot of stock here.
Okay. Yeah, skull cracks are pretty irrelevant in that Kevin's probably not trying to gain a ton of life.
Right. Blood Moon is pretty good here.
Okay.
I don't know for a burn deck that runs Blood Moon, but most of them do nowadays.
Sure. Yeah, you'd probably want to have the 1 planes in there if you're going to run the Blood Moon, right?
Correct. Dovahkiin Beast. When you're forced to reveal your hand, do the cards stay revealed until they leave your hand? No. But you're allowed to write them down, which is what most players do. And if you're playing like a friendly game or like you know the person, just to save on time, you could just leave them revealed. But in actual tournament Magic, you just write down the cards and they go back into your opponent's hand. Have anything to add to that?
No, that's about right.
Okay.
I sometimes like if a card stays revealed for too long, I'll just ask like, hey, can I pick this up?
Sure.
Like if it's many turns and I'm like courtesy revealing it.
Right.
Because I lose track of stuff. Like I've definitely had 8-card hands where I'm like, oh geez, this is in my hand too. So it gets confusing. So yeah, just write them down.
Also, I'm not sure the exact ruling on it, but if you cast like an Inquisition of Kozilek, do you... At what point can they pick up their hand? So if there's like 1 target for your Inquisition, and you say, all right, we'll take that, can they just like immediately pick up their hand and I'll let you see what the cards are?
No. No, that's not the case at all.
Okay.
I believe that it's one of those things where the judge is going to decide what a reasonable amount of time is.
Okay.
I would assume card names are good, but if you're writing down card text,
Oh, sure.
yeah. I once had to have a judge. This was back when Slaughter Games was a standard legal card.
Okay.
And a guy Slaughter Games me.
Muddle and Mixture on deck.
And he wanted to write down my deck list. He goes, Judge, can I just have his deck list? And the judge was like, no, but you can look for a reasonable amount of time, and then when you hand the deck back to him, begin writing. And so the judge managed that for us.
Okay.
All right, Serum Vision.
Serum Vision's on top. No second land for Zach. I guess he doesn't need one just yet.
Yeah, it's not critical. He'd love one, but...
So we've shuffled that one away. Don't want the Serum Visions.
I find one of the most interesting things about playing decks like the burn deck is that you can do what we just did, where you go back and you reconstruct your decision point.
Certainly.
And like you just, it's literally just a math equation at that point.
Right. Yeah, it's all numbers in the burn deck.
I don't know how productive that is specifically.
Right. It's not very productive because every turn you have to consider, like, on that turn, you don't know what's in the future. You don't know.
Right.
And you have to kind of forget what's in the past.
Right.
Spotter Monkey is Matthew Manier.
Shout-outs to Matt.
Shout-outs to Matt.
Glad to have him out there. He's doing a great job.
The finest Spotter Monkey in the store tonight.
Yeah. I know he takes his lumps from Jake.
Does he?
I think Jake gets in there and really manages him.
Really?
A lot.
Wow.
And if there's one thing I hate in life, it's being overmanaged.
Okay. So you're kind of like don't tread on me type deal?
No,
so you want to be tread on?
Sometimes. So I'm the kind of employee where like I want you to give me a task, and I'm going to like give you the end result of that task, and I don't want you to ask questions about how I got there.
Okay. Well,
does that make? I know that very rarely works.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Right.
But here we are.
But here we are.
All right, so we've got 1 mana drawn, 1 mana available for Kevin.
He's going to get this land into his hand.
Question is, how much does Zach want to play around the removal spell? And how badly is he punished for doing this if it does indeed get countered? Oh, you just let this resolve all day.
Yeah. All right.
So it'll die in a turn, but that's irrelevant now. Yeah, we got to take the chance. Oh, wow. We're just passing the turn. So he's confident that Kevin's now going to try to go all in on this Inkmoth Nexus. So he wants to make sure he has some action here to shut it off, and the action of choice is going to be this Searing Blaze.
No, the action of choice is going to be the Deflecting Palm. Because if Kevin taps out, and he gets to cast his Deflecting Palm, preventing the damage that the Inkmoth Nexus does and shipping it at Kevin, it's a big deal. Because the Deflecting Palm deals the damage, so it's real damage, not infect damage.
Non-infect damage. Wow, okay.
Let me confirm that while I... Deflecting Palm deals that much damage to that source's control.
According to Brannigan Law, Jake is a lump. Well, let me just tell you that lump sat alone on a boggy marsh. Totally emotionless.
Except for her heart.
Except for her heart.
That's a great band from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Really the mid-90s.
In the mid to late 90s.
Mid to late 90s.
Some good old Presidents of the United States of America.
Pot USA.
Alright, so mixture has been muddled. This, shouldn't this creature be dead?
What creature?
Oh no, it's a 1/2, sorry.
Yeah, it's an 0/1 currently.
0/1.
0/1. So, let's see. If I'm Zach here, I'm gonna path. I'm going to cast this other Goblin Guide. I'm going to get in for 5, putting Kevin to 1.
Yeah, that
he has so much mana that the additional land doesn't matter anymore.
Right. Yeah, I'm not worried about the additional mana. I'm wondering, so if we attack for 3 or 2, and he doesn't block, then we get to cast our Eidolon, and then he's just dead because he can't go off with just one spell.
Become Immense becomes his friend there.
Oh, sure.
So there's that out. We haven't seen one yet, but
I'm sure they exist.
Yeah, that card is a very, very good addition to this Infect deck. It really made it what it was back in the Cataxian Probe days.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you just play the Goblin Guide and attack with both the Goblin Guides?
Yeah.
Does that set up? That's a block. He goes to 4, and then you have the path for whatever creature he goes all in on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So yeah, this seems reasonable.
All right.
But we've seen a ton of counter
this is the line I was considering. Yeah.
So, block there. He's going to take 2
to 4. Man.
We've got double path, a rift bolt. Man, a land off the top would be very nice.
I think he's just going to stick back with these paths.
Yeah, there's no reason to do it now.
Right.
So there's not a lot of ways that Kevin could win from this board position with a dead Glistener Elf. So I'm wondering if Zach's kicking himself for not attacking with this Monastery Swift Spear. All right. Kevin's deep in the tank. He's looked at his hand. He knows he doesn't have a way to kill this turn. I believe we have Blossoming Defense, Blighted Agent, Spell Pierce, Might of Old Croja. Taking one Infect, one Poison counter, probably all that Zach's going to get this game.
Here's
Blighted Agent. Here's
Yep.
a path.
All right. So here's a path to exile.
That's fine. Land gets him the game here. I mean, he's probably already got it. That'll do it.
Yep, there you go.
All right, Zach has sold for X.
Yes. Lots of ins and outs in this matchup. It's a very precarious line you're walking on both ends.
Both ends. I think the line that you're walking is more for Zach. Kevin's just gonna have what he's got.
Yeah.
So I think both players are happy with their sideboard here. Sorry, go ahead.
I would imagine that Kevin's favored here in the final game. So I don't know what his sideboard looks like, but he has probably 2 main deck Dispels. I'd imagine there's 2 more in the sideboard. And then there has to be some additional counter magic. I would say Spell Pierce would be a solid card.
Well, we saw a Spell Pierce.
And then he furthermore has Vines of the Vastwood and Blossoming Defense in whatever numbers he wants. So I feel like as long as if he can use his counter spells to counter the sorcery speed burn that's coming at his face, and then his protection cards to keep his creatures on the board, he's very happy with life.
Yeah. I mean, if it all plays out that way, it's definitely the path to victory for Kevin. The problem is Boros is also going to be attacking with creatures. You also don't get to control what type of spells that they have. And all of those cards take up your most precious resource when you're playing this Infect deck, and that's cards in hand, where you definitely need a critical mass of spells to go off.
Right. Ooh, and here's a start with a
Pendelhaven Noble Hierarch.
Right. The Noble Hierarch's a card we haven't seen yet, and this card can make a big difference in this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of card Zach doesn't want Kevin to have, but I feel like it's just a big deal to have to use a whole card on Noble Hierarch. Gosh, there's more land off the top. See, every time that happens, I just feel good.
You feel good if
I
you're
always feel bad.
the Infect player.
Yeah, I feel bad taking Goblin Guide hits, but it really is just like, oh yeah, I got this extra land. Oh, look at this 8 cards in hand I got now on turn 2.
I never want to take a Goblin Guide hit. Always feels bad. Another land.
Another one.
Another one. Let's see what the turn 2 play is going to be here. Could be an Eidolon. which would spell doom.
Eidolon's bad news. Rift Bolt.
Oh my. So we've got suspend 1 on representing a third of Kevin's life total.
So if Kevin has a blue source here, he can...
He's got a blue source in the noble hierarch.
Well, I want an additional one.
Oh,
because we're gonna fire up
greedy.
this. We're gonna fire up this Inkmoth Nexus and get in for 3.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 is a lot. Like by the time you get to 3 naturally, you are at a point where
very easy to combo.
Yeah,
off.
it's very easy to like get in there and just beat him. He can dispel or counterspell in some way one of these Rift Bolts. He's
so his
in
hand
very
is
good shape.
Disrupting Shoal, Dispel, Spell Pierce.
Okay, we can Spell Pierce.
Muddle the Mixture.
See, I want to get... Okay, he leaves the Hierarch up here is what we do.
Down to 15.
Okay, so I guess we're going to save these spells to protect.
Of note, there are no pump spells in Kevin's hand.
That's bad.
That's the cost of playing all this counter magic.
Right.
I do not want to be the control deck against a burn player when I could be the combo deck against the burn player.
Okay.
And so you definitely don't want to overdo it on these sideboards. Here we're going to see Goblin Guide number 2, crash in for 4. And if he takes this, he's going to eat 2 lava spikes unless he
he's going to eat 1 lava
get
spike.
some counter magic in there. Well, he could counter them both.
Oh, does he have a 3-drop? Or I guess, he can Disrupting Shoal with one of his...
Yeah, we can pitch a Dispel. Yeah, he's going to have to Spell Pierce this.
So he's tapped out here.
Zach debating on the lava spike here. You have to be mana efficient.
Yeah, you got to spend it all.
It's important here. Because if you draw a Rift Bolt next turn, you want to be able to fire it off and kill him.
Right, yeah, you just want to cast it.
Although I guess you have a 4th land in hand. I don't know. I still like firing off here.
So Kevin has a ton of outs here.
Oh yeah.
He's got outs in Vines of the Vastwood, Croson, Might, Groundswell if he has it, and Become Immense. No. Don't let him do it.
All right. Still at 5, so there you go.
Oh, we know the top card of his deck.
Yes. All right, so Kevin is...
So he's going to cast Noble Hierarch.
So you definitely have to cast Noble Hierarch. Swing in for 4 Infect. And then you just sit back on your Hierarchs and your Muddle the Mixture. You need at least 1 Hierarch to live. So you just block with 1 and hope he doesn't draw a bolt. I think that's your out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. But the land he played is a fetch land. So he's going to go down to 4 here. I don't know if that makes a huge difference.
Boros Charm becomes an out?
Well, Boros Charm's already an out.
No. No, he's gonna have 2 noble hierarchs. So one of the noble hierarchs is
Right, but he can't kill him if he can't kill him with what he has in his hand if he blocks with both noble hierarchs.
So I think you have to block with both noble hierarchs to try and.
Or tapping the Pendle Haven. Oh my goodness.
Six. Okay, so the out here is
For Zach or for Kevin?
The out for Kevin is to he's got to block both of them, because if he only blocks one, then like almost all of Zach's deck is an out. But if he blocks both of them, then he gets a redraw on trying to win the game.
Okay.
And Zach had this mystery card in hand.
Blighted Agent off the top.
That's not what we want to be. Oh, okay. We gotta fetch land though, so we can bring up island. So
he has a Muddle the Mixture in hand.
He has to double block. So Muddle the Mixture transmutes for 1 blue to go get a 2-drop card. I don't know of any that exist that.
So what I'm saying is, if he has the read and thinks that Zach's on a sorcery speed removal, he can just single block with his Summoning Sick Noble Hierarch. Take 2, and then Muddle the Mixture, the Lava Spike.
It costs blue. Oh, sure.
And then untap and win. Although he can't do that because of the way he tapped last turn, I guess, anyway. Oh, well.
I wonder if he just doesn't have basic island.
It's a possibility. I mean, 1 basic island definitely is a cost to pay when you're playing Pendlehaven, you're playing Inkmoth Nexus.
Man.
So, yeah, that's it. He's got Muddle the Mixture, Disrupting Shoal in hand. He doesn't have anything that's going to be able to stop both of these Goblin Guides. I mean, I guess I'll be able to fire up one and block, or fire up an Inkmoth and block one, but that's banking on Zach having no burn.
Not going to win you the game. Yeah, he needed to hit a pump spell at any point there. You really had 3 outs to hit a pump spell. 3 draws on it, and just didn't get there.
Alright, so go down to 2. So he had the Disrupting Shoal, Muddle the Mixture, didn't have the lands to cast it. No islands in the deck, possibly. Who knows?
Right.
But that was a tight one.
It was a tight one. I didn't think of the Muddle the Mixture line there on that second to last turn.
He needed to tap differently.
Correct.
So it wasn't reasonable for Zach's turn there, but it's taking a gamble still.
Concur.
Because if he has like a Lightning Bolt or anything, but would have got him there.
All right, well, that was an interesting round 2.
That was an interesting round 2, indeed. We'll be back in an unknown amount of time.
Yeah, we got some time.
Time is not a straight line anyway.
No, it's not. If you watched any episode of Star Trek ever, you know this.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Time is a social construct.
Discuss.
Come see us in however much of it you like.
Goodbye.